Greetings, my fellow audience. I'm Mr. Zaril, and I work at Polytechnic Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia. 20 years of teaching basic forestry and dendrology meant a lot to me. Follow my lecture series, and I hope you enjoy my videos. Feel free to download if it does benefit your knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe. Come join me now. What is dendrology? Dendrology is composed of two words, dendro and logy. So dendro is originated from Greek word called dendron. So what is dendron? Dendron is a tree. And logy also originated from Greek word called logia. So what is logia? Logia is a science. When dendro or dendron combine with logy or logia, it forms dendrology, meaning a science and study of woody plant. Alright, now we take a look at the terms that related to dendrology. So the first term is plant taxonomy. So what is plant taxonomy? Basically, a plant taxonomy is composed by three words. As you can see here, plant, taxo, and nomy. So this is plant. And taxo is originated from Greek word called taxis. So what is taxis? Taxis is an order or arrangement. And nomy also originated from Greek word called nomos. So what is nomos? Nomos is a law or science. So plant taxis nomos is the practice and science of classification of plant. Okay, what are the goals or objectives of plant taxonomy? There are two goals of plant taxonomy. The first one is for identification, and the second one is for classification. So the next term that related to dendrology is biological classification. So what is biological classification? So biological classification is the arrangement of organisms in specific groups or categories based on certain characters. So this type of classification has three systems. The first one is artificial system. The second one is natural system, and the third one is phylogenetic system. And according to this system of classification, all living thing on Earth is based on rank. So what is rank? In terms of biological classification, the rank is the level or the relative position in a taxonomic hierarchy. And it names as taxonomy rank. So this figure shows the taxonomy rank from the top to bottom. The top of the rank is life, and the bottom of the rank is species. Now we take a more closer on the top rank of the biological classification, life of Earth. So this rank, also known as biota. Biota is all living thing on Earth. So it is a characteristic that distinguishes objects that have signaling and self-sustaining processes of biology from those that do not, either because such functions have ceased or died, or else because they lack such functions and are classified as inanimate. So now we go to the second rank, the rank below life. It's a domain. So domain, basically also known as superregnum or superkingdom or empire. So this is the highest taxonomy rank of organisms. So higher than a kingdom. According to Carl House, he introduced three major domains in 1990. The first domain is bacteria. The second domain is archaea, and the third domain is eukaryota. We go further to the third rank. The third rank in biological classification is kingdom. So kingdom is a rank below domain. There are 6 kingdoms according to biological classification. The first kingdom is kingdom Monera, then kingdom Archaea, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. Now, so we take a look at the 3 biological classification. From top of the rank, 3 is a living thing, meaning that it has been classified under biota. And a 3 is classified under domain eukaryota. And when we go to the kingdom, so a 3 is classified under kingdom Plantae. And now, let us define a tree. So what is a tree? In technical terms, a tree is an organic material of natural composites of cellulosic fibers which embedded in a matrix of lignin that resists compression, that lives more than 2 years. A tree has its significant characteristics. Not every single tree-like plant are classified as a tree. They have to comply with certain characters to verify that it is a tree. Now we take a look at the first characteristic of a tree. So a tree often reaches 15 feet or more in height at maturity above the ground. So this is the first characteristic. The second characteristic of a tree, it has at least a single trunk or dominant multiple trunks. Next, a tree has no normal branches on the lower trunk. Then, a tree has at least a partially defined crown. And a tree usually larger than other plants and tend to be long-lived. Just to refresh what you had learned just now, I do believe that you already know a technical definition of a tree and its characteristics. And now I want to tell you about the taxonomy of a tree. So the first rank of kingdom Plantae is phylum. So this is the first category of kingdom Plantae. So phylum also known as division. So this type of category is based on the plant's means of reproduction. The phylum of trees are spermatophyte, which means it reproduces through seeds. So the second rank under the kingdom of Plantae is class. So this category of by the method they, trees, used to develop the seeds used for reproduction. Tree has two classes. The first one is angiospermae, so which is the seed enclosed in an ovary. And the second class is gymnospermae, where open seed on a structure such as a cone. So the third rank of kingdom Plantae is order. So order is a category of each classes develop the seeds. For example, angiospermae has two types of seed development, namely monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Cotyledon is referring the parts of the seed. The first rank in kingdom of Plantae is family. This is a group of closely related trees, usually including one or more genera. Plural of genus make up a family. So it is the vegetative and generative organs of a tree. For example, Dendrology family produce wing seeds, and Leguminaceae produce bean seeds. The fifth rank is genus. Genus is a collection of closely related species. The species usually are structurally similar or have common ancestry. For example, each genus in Dendrology family bloom different design of flower. The bottom rank of kingdom of Plantae is species. So species is a collection of individuals with characteristics so similar that they suggest common parentage. A species is a tree distinct and unlike others. So the word species can be written in singular and plural. Singular species and the plurals never change, still the same as singular species. But the abbreviation is different. If you want to write the singular species, you have to write the abbreviation of SPEC. And plural for species is SPP. So please bear in mind, this is the rule on how you want to write a species name. So species always written in two words. For example, so this is a species from Dipterocarpaceae family, Shorea leprosula. So this is the scientific name. And the vernacular name of Shorea leprosula is Meranti tembaga. So Shorea is indicating this species belongs to the genus Shorea. And now we take a look on technique of naming tree. There are two techniques of naming tree. The first one is scientific name. The second one is vernacular name. So the first one is scientific name. So naming trees with this kind of technique contains, first in order is genus, followed by species, and followed by full or abbreviated name of the person or persons who originally described the species. So this technique also known as universal name, Latin name, or botanical name. This is a standard name used worldwide. So the correct order in naming tree are as follows. First in line, you have to write genus. Second in line, you have to write species. And the third line is person name. And how to write a proper technique of scientific name? There are two techniques. The first technique, we write the scientific name in italic order. So the genus and species. As you can see on this species from Dipterocarpaceae family, Shorea balanocarpoides, Symington. Symington is a person who described this species. So the technique number one, you have to write the genus and species in italic order, but not for the person who described it. The second technique, you also can write the genus and species by underlining those two words, genus and species, but not to the person who described it. And now, I will show you on how to write a vernacular name. A vernacular name of an organism is a name in general use within a community. A common name is not necessarily a commonly used name. Vernacular name, also known as country name, farmer's name, common name, colloquial name, trivial name, or trivial epithet. So the correct order in naming trees based on vernacular name are as follows. First in line is a genus, and second in line is a species. It is not necessary to write down the person who described it. And how to write a vernacular name? This is a species from Dipterocarpaceae family. Meranti damar hitam katuk is a vernacular name. So the first order is a genus, Meranti. Meranti is a genus that belongs to the genus Shorea. And Damar hitam katuk is a species that indicate the black resin produced by this species. So this is how we want to write a vernacular name. The common names of trees often reflect their major characteristic. The first characteristic is habitat. This referring to the natural habitat of the species. For example, keruing gunung, meranti paya, and meranti bakau. Gunung, paya, and bakau, those are the Malay vocabularies. Gunung is referring to mountain. Paya is referring to a swamp. And bakau is referring to mangrove. The second characteristic is distinctive features. This is referring to the shape of three characteristics, and these examples are referring to their leaf shape, such as merawan daun bulat, giam lintah bukit, and resak daun panjang. So merawan daun bulat here is referring to the round shape of its leaf. And giam lintah bukit, lintah, is referring to the identical petiole of the leaf to a leech. And resak daun panjang is referring to the oblong or long shape of its leaf. The third characteristic is locality or region. So this is referring to the origin growth of the species. For example, southern red oak. Southern red oak is a tree native to the southeastern United States. It occurs on dry or sandy upland sites from southern New York or Long Island, south to central Florida, and west to southern Missouri and eastern Texas. So the next characteristic is use. This is referring to the use of any parts of the species. For example, mulberry tree used as a paper, and maple tree eats sugar used as a food. So maple syrup is made of sugar maple tree. The next characteristic is in commemoration. So the species is naming after a great person, such as botanists, foresters, etc. For example, Engelmann spruce. So this species name honors George Engelmann, a notable 19th century German-born physician and botanist, resident of St. Louis, and an authority on the conifers, cacti, vines, and wine grapes. And the last characteristic is adaptation from other language. So the tree is named based on the foreign language. For example, frijolito. Frijolito comes from word Spanish, meaning little bean. Little bean is referring to small, semi-woody pod with bright red poisonous seeds. Naming a tree is quite difficult. Why? One of the primary reasons of this difficulty is the vernacular name or local name tend to be influenced by the community where the tree is available. In other words, a common tree having a different name at different localities. Here I give you some example in Malaysia. Geographically, Malaysia has been divided into two regions, Peninsular Malaysia and Borneo, including Sabah and Sarawak. As I mentioned before about the different area with different name, Malaysia also included. For example, a species from genus Shorea, balau. Balau is a vernacular name, is well known in Peninsular Malaysia. But in Sabah, it is known as Salangan Batu. Another sample is Meranti, also a member of genus Shorea, is well known in Peninsular Malaysia. But in Sabah, all Meranti is known as Seraya. You might be confused with Meranti Seraya that well distributed at Peninsular Malaysia. The difference of Meranti Seraya and Seraya, Seraya is a vernacular name for Meranti at Sabah, is on its scientific name. Meranti Seraya is Shorea Kertesai, and Seraya in Sabah is Shorea species, all Shorea species. Genus Anisoptera also have different vernacular name in both regions. In Peninsular Malaysia, genus Anisoptera is well known as Mersawa, but in Sabah it is known as Pangiran. There are a lot more examples of the difficulty. So conclusively, the vernacular name is the name that close related to its surrounding community. Alright, we just reached at the end of our first lecture session. I do believe that you have learned a lot about dendrology and terms related to it. And now, let us wrap up what we have learned today. First, what is dendrology? Dendrology is a science and study of woody plant. Secondly, what is plant taxonomy? Plant taxonomy is the practice and science of classification of plant. Next, we also had learned what is biological classification. Biological classification is the arrangement of organisms in specific groups or categories based on certain characters. We also learned the characteristic of a tree. And last but not least is the techniques of naming tree. How many techniques? There are 2 techniques, scientific name and vernacular name. I really hope my video will help you to enhance your knowledge about dendrology in the future. And see you on my next lecture series. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye now.